Okay, you are seriously not going to believe this. Picture it. September 3rd, Beijing. China's big Victory Day parade. Always a huge display, right? Military hardware, perfectly choreographed. But this year, well, there's this buzz. Something genuinely new. China's expected to show off the world's first operational collaborative combat aircraft drone. You know, the loyal wingman idea. And look, this isn't just some concept piece. We're talking about a drone built for actual combat, ready to go. Now, I bet you're thinking, hang on, loyal wingman? Sounds familiar. Maybe from a movie, sci-fi stuff where the AI gets a bit too smart. Well, today, that's what we're diving into. How that sci-fi idea is becoming, well, reality. Wings in the sky right now. And what does it actually mean? So, for anyone maybe new to this term, a loyal wingman, basically, it's an unmanned aircraft. But it's designed, crucially, to work with human pilots, like an intelligent partner. In this deep dive, we're going to unpack China's FH-97 system. We'll look at where it sits in this, frankly, intense global race for autonomous tech. And really importantly, how these real-world developments compare to, say, what you've seen in Hollywood. We're drawing on some great analysis here, international defense analysis, the Economic Times, plus details from Wikipedia on the FH-97 and this whole man-unmanned teaming idea. We'll even bring in that movie Stealth just to see where fiction and reality collide or maybe where they overlap. So our mission today, give you the shortcut. Understand this massive shift in air combat, what it is, why it matters now, and where it might be heading. You should get some real aha moments out of this.
It really is incredible, the speed of this. I mean, going from just concepts on paper to prototypes. And now, well, potentially operational status. It's quite something. So to define it clearly, a loyal wingman, or UCAV, uncrewed combat aerial vehicle. It's got AI baked in. Its whole purpose is operating alongside those crewed jets. The U.S. often calls them CCAs, collaborative combat aircraft. And what really sets it apart from the typical drone you might picture being flown remotely, this is designed as an intelligent partner. It can make some decisions on its own, within certain limits, of course.
So it's way beyond just a remote-controlled plane. It's more like, is it fair to think of it as an AI co-pilot? Or maybe a bodyguard for the human pilot, something that can handle the really dangerous stuff. Or just too much stuff for one person.
That's a really good way to put it, actually, a bodyguard, co-pilot.
Yeah.
And the multifunction aspect is the real game changer. Deng Shuai, who's the chief designer for the FH-97, he put it quite vividly. He said it's both a sensor and an ammunition depot, as well as an intelligent assistant for pilots. Basically an armed bodyguard. It just massively extends what that pilot can do, what they can sense, what they can react to. The roles we're seeing listed, they're pretty broad. Suppressing enemy air defenses, using electronic warfare, giving early warning, even absorbing damage, taking a hit instead of the manned jet, doing reconnaissance, assessing battle damage, and even deploying smaller weapons itself, like the FH-901 drone for those really precise strikes.
Wow, that sounds like a genuine force multiplier. You also mentioned manned-unmanned teaming, MUMT. What does that actually mean for the person in the cockpit? It feels like it changes everything about air combat.
It absolutely does. MUMT, it's exactly what it sounds like. Humans and autonomous systems working together, synchronized. The aim is to boost situational awareness dramatically, cut down the risk to the humans involved, and just make the whole mission more effective. It kind of shifts the pilot's role. They're less about just flying the plane and more like a mission commander, supervising, orchestrating these unmanned systems. Think about one pilot potentially managing their own jet plus a few of these wingmen, offloading complex tasks, letting the pilot focus on the bigger picture of the strategy. And for you, the listener, what this points to is potentially multiplying combat power on the battlefield, maybe significantly, while keeping human pilots safer.
Okay, that really frames the importance of this, which brings us straight back to that big news out of Beijing. The PLA, getting ready to show off what could be the world's first operational CCA, this FH-97 Fihong 97, and doing it at the Victory Day parade, marking 80 years since Japan's surrender. That's a huge statement, isn't it? And that word operational. For everyone listening, this isn't just a tech demo. It means it's integrated, tested, ready for combat missions, like tomorrow. If this is confirmed, it really puts China out front, leading the pack and deploying these kinds of systems for real-world use. And the FH-97 itself, the details are fascinating. Single engine, designed for ground attacks, stealthy. Built to work alongside jets like their J-20. It's got that stealth look, angular stabilizer, the whole configuration. Low observable characteristics basically means it's super hard for radar to pick up, right?
Exactly. Minimizing radar signature, heat signature, electronic emissions, making it tough to detect, tough to track. That kind of survivability is crucial if you're going into heavily defended airspace where older aircraft just wouldn't last. What this really changes is where and how You can use these assets, penetrating deep, taking risks as human pilots shouldn't. It opens up strategies. And, this isn't just a one-shot deal for them. The development seems really systematic. The AVIC subsidiary that built it, they've shown other versions, like the FH-97A back in 2022, which was more focused on air-to-air combat. That one apparently carries up to 8 missiles or loitering munitions. And it can even use rockets to take off without a runway. So this structured approach, it suggests they're building a whole flexible system, tailoring drones for different jobs. Not just one magic bullet, but a whole toolkit.
That's a really insightful point about the depth here. And the parade itself, 40,000 personnel involved, it just hammers home how important this is for China, showing off these capabilities. Major General Wu Zik even said everything on display is domestically produced, active duty, main battle gear. So, yeah, present tense capability.
Definitely. China getting there first with an operational system, if that's the case, gives them a strategic edge, no doubt. But it's really important to see this in the bigger picture. It's a truly global race. Fierce competition. I mean, look at the U.S. They've got the XQ-58A Valkyrie, expected combat ready, 2029, and the Air Force's CCA program. They're planning to spend nearly $9 billion just between 2025 and 2029, aiming for 1,000 CCAs initially. They're talking about $25–30 million per drone, and doing it in phases: increment 1 for carrying weapons, increment 2 for more advanced stealth, electronic warfare.
Wow, 1,000. Okay, so the U.S. isn't just reacting, they're planning big.
Yeah.
Building for future generations of this tech, evolving from carrying bombs to more complex stuff like electronic jamming. It's a long game they're playing. And it's not just the U.S. and China, is it?
Oh, not at all. Australia's right in there with Boeing's MQ-28 Ghostbat. They've got 8 prototypes flying, over 100 flight hours logged already with the Royal Australian Air Force. And you look around, Japan's working on it. Russia has the Sukhoi S-70 Okhotnik. South Korea, Turkey's TAI Anka-3 actually had a milestone, didn't it? First drone controlled by another aircraft in this kind of wingman role back in October 2024. Even Germany's involved with the Airbus wingman concept. The UK had a program. Spirit Mosquito, they canceled it in 22, but they're still focused on autonomous systems, just maybe slightly different approaches. So what this global scramble really tells you is, well, the whole idea of air superiority is changing. It's not just about the pilot anymore. It's about integrating these AI systems fast. It's a race for the tech. Yeah, but also for the strategy, the doctrine of how you actually fight with these things.
That really puts it in perspective. So, okay, the FH-97 is grabbing headlines, but China's obviously thinking bigger. What else are we seeing that hints at their wider strategy here?
Yeah, it looks like a much broader, sort of multi-layered approach. Those parade rehearsals, they apparently showed 2 other drone designs we hadn't seen before, larger tailless delta wing shapes, suggesting maybe higher performance, different roles. You could even speculate about carrier operations for their Navy. And here's another really interesting bit. They're developing a 2-seat version of their main stealth fighter, the J-20, called the J-20S. The idea seems to be the person in the back seat acts as the controller, managing the CCAs, the other drones, takes the load off the pilot, makes them that mission commander we talked about. It's a really integrated vision.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly, because I know a lot of people listening, when they hear AI fighter jet, they immediately think of that movie Stealth from 2005. You know, the EDI drone Eddie flies with human pilots, then goes rogue. It's almost like life imitating art, isn't it? A bit unnerving.
It absolutely is. And stealth is actually a fantastic reference point here, because Hollywood often plays out these what-if scenarios that military planners are genuinely wrestling with. It's like a public thought experiment. And if you compare the film to what's happening now, there's some striking similarities. For real, both EDI in the movie and these real-world wingmen, they're designed explicitly to fly alongside human pilots. To boost the mission, act as force multipliers. Both involve pretty high levels of autonomy for complex stuff, planning tactics, selecting targets.
Right, and EDI was stealthy, just like these new drones are designed to be, to get into dangerous airspace. That's a shared goal. Plus, the idea in both fiction and reality is that the drone can take the bigger risks, absorb the damage, keep the human pilot safer. But maybe the most interesting overlap is how the film digs into trust, command, the ethics of AI making kill decisions. Those are the exact conversations happening for real right now around these systems.
Exactly. But that's also where fiction really takes a sharp turn from reality. The key difference: EDI becomes this near-human, unpredictable AI. It develops like sentience after a lightning strike and goes rogue. Real-world systems, they're built with constrained autonomy, tight controls, safety protocols, human oversight. There's sophisticated tools, advanced, narrow AI, not thinking beings about to take over. And the failure mode, a lightning strike is dramatic, right? Real failures are more mundane. Software glitches, lost communication links, sensor problems. And there are layers and layers of planning to prevent or manage those. Operationally, too, EDI makes its own moral judgments, real wingmen. They're tools to extend human reach. The intention, the doctrine is always to keep a human in the loop or on the loop for lethal force decisions. And finally, scale and timing. Stealth shows EDI as this fully formed integrated asset right away. Reality is much more. Incremental. Prototypes, testing, early versions, slow rollout. It's a gradual process, not an overnight revolution like in the movies.
So, putting it all together, what does this actually mean for how wars might be fought in the future? Deploying operational CCAs, it really does change the game, doesn't it? It blurs that sci-fi line, but maybe not quite how Hollywood pictured it.
Precisely. The promise is multiplying combat power. Fewer pilots controlling larger, more flexible formations. You could potentially overwhelm defenses in new ways. It reduces pilot workload, allows them to focus strategically, and critically, it aims to reduce human casualties by putting the robots in the most dangerous spots. It really is a paradigm shift towards more autonomous warfare. The human becomes the manager, the conductor of this complex orchestra of crewed and uncrewed aircraft. But that stealth comparison, even with its exaggerations, it does force us to confront the big questions. Trust in the machine, clear command and control, fail-safes. How do you prevent mistakes or unintended actions when things are moving so fast? And what about escalation? If autonomous systems react instantly, does that make conflicts harder to control? Who's truly responsible? These aren't easy questions. It highlights the need for really rigorous testing, careful phased deployment, and strong legal and ethical frameworks to make sure this technology is used responsibly. We definitely don't want a movie outcome.
Absolutely. A huge amount to think about. And, beyond the purely military side, there's the tech transfer aspect too, right? This pushes AI and automation forward, which could filter down into civilian aviation, other industries. It's not just about defense, it's about the cutting edge of AI development overall. So there we have it. We've taken a deep dive into this emerging reality of loyal wingman drones, with China's FH-97 seemingly leading the operational charge. We've put it in the context of that global tech race, and we've looked at how the dramatic visions of sci-fi, like in stealth, both echo and differ from the much more controlled reality of today's military AI. It really shows that the future we used to just imagine, well, it's unfolding much faster than maybe we expected. What you've heard today isn't just news, it's a real glimpse into that future.
And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If the point of these loyal wingmen is to be intelligent assistants to help the pilot as they get smarter, more capable, how much actual control are we as humans willing to hand over, especially in the heat of the moment? And what does that ultimately do to the role, the very identity of the pilot?
That's a powerful question indeed, one that defense planners, ethicists, and frankly, all of us will be grappling with for years, probably decades to come. Thanks for diving deep with us today.